Behind me is the 07 Hawkeye WRX we brought in the shop due to a rod bearing failure, and let's just say this thing is trash. Let's roll the clips. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We're back in the garage with the blue hatch WRX. Last video we got the engine all torn out of the car, but we ran into one small issue. I quickly realized that I didn't have the tool for these non-AVCS cam gears, but luckily the owner of the car actually had one at his place, so I was able to go grab one, and now we can go ahead and tear these guys off. I was kind of worried about this. This is what happens when you don't buy Company 23 tools. This is like a little knockoff version. It's super short, and if you guys have ever taken these things off, you know they can get really, really tight. So, I'm not really sure. I gotta find something that I can put over the top of this for some more leverage. I'm trying to look around the shop. I was hoping to use the jack handle, but she's a little on the thinner side and it won't fit in there. So, maybe I gotta pull out the thing out of my engine crane. I don't know. We'll figure something out. Well, there's a reason you come over here and I have an entire drawer of Company 23 tools, because these things work. And there's also a reason why I don't buy the knockoffs. As you can see, instead of just breaking our cam gear loose over here, I proceeded to bend and warp the entire tool, and this isn't thin either. So I thought I was just being weak and not being able to get that off, but clearly I was a little too tough on the tool, so I can't even get it back on the gear again. It popped off and that was it. So I can try to bend this back, but more than likely I'm just gonna grab a Company 23 one. And we'll get that off. Well, it's the next day now, and the owner of the car actually had another tool. This looks a little bit stronger. I'm not sure if this is Company 23 or not. I don't see a sticker, but it looks a lot like it, so I'm not really sure. Hopefully this one provides enough strength and leverage to whip that thing off. Let's give her another shot. Yeah, I know. As per usual with these cam gear bolts, just rounded right out once we got, you know, a proper tool on there. So luckily, like we always have to do with these stupid things, take our little extractor tool. We got to pound this guy onto that bolt head, and then we can just use a normal socket to whip this guy off. And then hopefully it'll break loose. There we go. Whoops. Well, that took entirely too long, and as you can see with our bolt, the tool works wonders, but we'll have to get a new bolt, obviously. If you guys are running into the same issue though, here's that tool. I've used this multiple times. Irwin 11/16 bolt extractor. Yeah, this comes in handy way too often. Now with those cam gears off, we can continue to break this engine down, take our little plastic covers off, coils, spark plugs, and then, you know, valve cover, head, all the way to the short block. And we split that short block and see where our bearing failure occurred, and then assess the situation, see where we're gonna go next with this thing. I haven't really decided what route I wanna go with this build yet. It is just a WRX, and it's gonna go up to my dad's house way up north anyways. So I'm not really planning to do like a full-on build, but maybe we do like some sort of budget rebuild. So say an engine blew in one of you guys' cars, you didn't really have a budget to fix it. How much money do you really need to spend? Ideally, we can clean and reseal everything in there on minimum funds without buying all new parts. I don't know, we'll see. So let's get this thing torn apart, see how bad it is. Well, we just got the heads off the short block, and unfortunately, this whole idea of doing this on a budget is just not gonna work out. These heads are smoked. This is the first time I've actually seen heads like this get scored up this bad. But if you look in that cam journal right in here, you can see, if I can get this to focus, it's weird lighting right now. There you go. You can kind of see that it's pretty badly scored up, and the cams themselves, that is not ideal, boys. You should not have grooves in your cams or in your cam journals, because when you put this all back together, if you have grooves in there, it's gonna tear off more metal, which is gonna send it through the newly refreshed engine, and it's not gonna work out. You're gonna be rebuilding it again. So unfortunately, this engine is toast. The heads and the short block, everything needs to be replaced. So I'm not really sure how we're gonna do this. Obviously, this wasn't meant to be a full-on build, but yeah, I'm not sure if we're just gonna grab like a junkyard engine, an engine out of another car, or I don't know, reach out to some people, see what we can work out. But yeah, this thing's sauce. I don't even know if I want to tear apart the short block now, because, you know, what's the point? It's just a waste of time at that point. Right here we have another rod-knocked EJ25. I put out on my Instagram story asking if anyone really on the East Coast had a blown up or good EJ25, because this complete engine from the Hawkeye was trash and we couldn't use any of it. So I put it on my story, and sure enough, a guy named Mario, lives about 20 minutes from me, had this one that came out of his 2013 WRX. Now, it did have the same failure as the Hawkeye, so there is the risk that this whole engine is garbage as well. Hopefully the heads on this one are good. That's really what I'm crossing my fingers for. But we got to get it in on the engine stand, tear this one down, and then we'll really be able to tell where we're going to go from here. Engine's in the stand. Let's get this thing all unwrapped and we'll see how she looks. we've got the valve cover and the 2 cams popped out, and we can go ahead and check out our cam journals. Now, I want to say they're 100% perfect, but they do still have a little bit of scoring. Nothing too bad. The worst one is right on this journal. You can probably see that one pretty good scrape next to the oil squirter. But other than that, this head, I believe, is salvageable. And same thing with the cams. These, I believe, are also salvageable. Definitely a lot better surface on there. Like I said, it's not 100% perfect. This one's got a little bit of oil on it, so don't mind that. But if you guys remember when I ran my finger across the last one, you could hear it. This one feels a lot more smooth. So we're gonna run with these. We'll see what the machine shop says, but I'm pretty sure these will be 100% fine. Let's get that head off, and then we can do the same thing on the other side and start diving into the short block. My hope is that the short block kind of has the same amount of damage or less that the heads do, because we can hone it out or bore it to 99.75, and we'll be able to just run bigger pistons if need be. So yeah, let's get going. Alright boys, it's a few days later now. It's actually Christmas today, so Merry Christmas. I know you're going to be watching this video afterwards, but I hope you guys had a good day and have happy holidays. I live alone, so not a whole lot of exciting things to do today. So we're back in the garage. This is the most exciting thing I got at my house. So we're going to get this short block all stripped down, and then we got to take it over to the machine shop and let them do their thing. Well, we got the pan, pickup, and baffle off, and looking in the pan, there really wasn't a whole lot of metal. But when I come over here and find this third rod right in here, give it a little shake. She's definitely got some play. So that is why this engine is all stripped down like it is, so we can replace our bearings, replace crank, whatever needs to be replaced before slapping it back in the Hawkeye and sending it up north. These bolts on this back cover can be a little stubborn sometimes. They're only 4mm Allens and they get pretty freaking tight over time. So what I like to do is just take a T27 Torx bit, kind of hammer it in a little bit, it'll wedge itself in there, and then you can just use a ratchet to take them off. Just apply steady pressure and they should break free. Cases are split, and it appears that cylinder 3 is the only one that has a really bad knock, and it's pretty bad. There is probably like not even any bearing left in there. You can see how much it's actually moving. So there's your source of a rod bearing failure right there. Yeah, the other cylinders, you can see there's no wiggle there. Maybe a little bit forming, but yeah, it appears that once he got a knock, he stopped driving the car, which is what he said, and that probably saved this whole engine from being complete junk. So shout out to him, and once again, thank you, Mario, for providing us with this engine. We're gonna get this thing rebuilt, and we should be able to salvage this thing. So I'm gonna get this entire engine cleaned up, get all the oil out of it, get all the plugs. Every plug in the block comes out before it goes to the machine shop, and then we'll bring it over there probably, I don't know if they're gonna be open tomorrow, the 26th, 27th maybe, so I'll have to give them a call, see when they're gonna be open, and we'll run this by with the heads, get all the machine work done, and then we'll be putting this thing back together. But I'm gonna wrap this video up right here. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, peace out, see y'all later. I guess I should probably show you guys the difference between a bad bearing and the good bearing. So you can see that when these two bearings are put together, actually, these ones are really together. They're nice and circular when they made up. These are more ovalized, and the reason is, if you take one of the good bearings, one of the bad bearings, you can clearly see the size difference. This one is way flatter and way more ovalized, so either got really hot or had some sort of oil starvation. Either way, yeah, this one is smoked, and that's what was causing our rod knock. Now, if you look at the crank, you can see right here, this is pretty good. This bearing surface is pretty good. This one is where that bad bearing was, and you can see how badly scored up it is. So we could get this thing probably machined down and reuse it. I'm just gonna buy a new crank. Subaru cranks are pretty cheap compared to, you know, Evos and other engines. So might as well just replace it, play the safe game, and then we'll rebuild this thing back up. But yeah, all right, that's it. Goodbye.